Joe Biden, he's got this new narrative that I think is really quite solid and is starting to be picked up by the American press. You know, up until a month or two ago, it was like, oh, Biden has never done anything. And I used to, you know, and I would come on the air with like my list of 130 accomplishments and go through, you know, the 15 or 20 highlights and say, you know, no, actually, he's done a lot. He's doing a lot. He's continuing to do a lot. Democrats are accomplishing a lot. They've put this country together. It's back together. It's like every time we have a Republican president, frankly, with the single exception of Dwight Eisenhower, every time we've had a Republican president in the last century. I mean, you had three of them, you know, Harding and Coolidge and Hoover, and then boom, the Great Depression, and FDR had to come in and clean up afterwards. And then you know, after Nixon, you had Lyndon Johnson coming in and cleaning up after. Well, actually, Nixon followed Lyndon Johnson, didn't he? So after Nixon and Ford, then we had Bill Clinton come, or Jimmy Carter come in and clean up, and then, you know, after Reagan, we had to have Bill Clinton come in and clean up the mess, and then of course the real disaster, the George W. Bush administration, and Obama had to clean up that mess, and that was a real screaming disaster, and then of course, you know, Donald Trump and his disaster, and that mess got cleaned up by Joe Biden, and he's doing a really good job. So here we have, he's delivered the largest economic recovery plan since Roosevelt, which is pretty breathtaking in and of itself, because, you know, some of the stuff that was done, during the pandemic year, the last year of the Trump administration, was pretty big. It's the largest infrastructure plan since Dwight Eisenhower. It's the most judges confirmed since John Kennedy. It's the second largest health care bill since Lyndon Johnson got Medicare and Medicaid passed. It is the largest climate change bill in history. This is the first time we've done anything about gun control since the Bill Clinton administration in the previous millennia, or the previous century. It's the first, I guess the previous millennium too. It's the first time we've gotten gun control since, well, I just mentioned that. The first time since an African-American woman has been put on the Supreme Court ever. And, you know, as White House Chief of Staff Ron Klain said, I think this is a good, you know, record to take to the American people. And I think so. I agree.